here we are with a world that doesn't do things the way we do, and spouses, I think it's going to be the hardest. There were times when I thought maybe it was going to be too much of a complication. And really, you know, the things we put in our body and the things we do for ourselves, we have to they have to be sacred, and we are sovereign beings, and we're around a lot of people who aren't sovereign beings. If we become more sovereign, it becomes easier for us to hold that space around people who are still looking for other people to please them and get their pleasure from other places, and, you know, literally like plugging themselves in. But these feelings, when they come up, like guilt, are really, they're great alarm bells. They're great indicators that we're going in the wrong direction. So if we start feeding into guilt because we're not doing something that somebody else wants us to do, then we know it's time for us to do a serious check-in and see what's going on. If it's within us, if it's because we're doing some sort of self-sabotage, that's one thing we need to look at. If it's that we're trying to make somebody else happy, then we have to look at that relationship. And it only helps the other person in the long run if we are able to stay true to ourselves in that and just really lovingly point out to them that, you know, that we see this pattern in ourselves and it's not healthy for us and it's not healthy for the relationship. And it may be, you know, it's kind of like taking a bottle away from a baby. It's, you know, the baby's going to cry a bit, and we have to be prepared to, for there to be some tears, for there to be some kind of, what's the word? It's sort of the effects of being pulled away from something that was so comfortable. And for now, in this scenario, it's almost like, you know, it's the frequent ripping off of Band-Aids for your husband, and he keeps on getting it like again and again and again, as opposed to getting like the whole job. How can I put this? Maybe that's the wrong analogy. It's kind of like, you know, you maybe if you're getting your legs waxed, you know, you're taking off patches, but really rather just like, you know, get the whole job done and you know, let him know that this is where you stand. You do feel this kind of guilt around it. You're trying to release guilt because you know guilt's not healthy for you. And, you know, and that's just kind of where you stand. And then that way he can really deal with it completely instead of having to deal with it in, you know, in little bits and pieces. Like, you know, you give a little, then you pull back. You give a little, then you pull back. It's better for you to say, you know, these are my boundaries. You have to do it for yourself before you can do it with him. You know, you have to say to yourself, well, these are my boundaries. This is what makes me feel good. And establish that for yourself. When you know what's established for you and this really is what you want to do, and you're not doing it because I say so or because somebody else does or because you admire the way somebody else eats, you genuinely do it because you know it's the best thing for you. And then it'll be much easier for you to say, honey, look, I know you love your different recipes and foods and restaurants, and I'm happy to come with you as long as you are happy to go. And say, but you know, I don't want to live in this this kind of mess of emotions around it. You know, if you really love it, go have it. I love sitting with you. I love being with you, and nothing gives me more pleasure. I'm not missing out on any pleasure. If you think it's because I'm missing out on pleasure, then it's not. That's not the case. And you know, what can we do with this? And then you can. It's going to be easier for you both to breathe because it's going to be less of this bottle being pulled out every time it, you know, comes to it. And then he'll stop listening to you to fill that part of him, and then you'll stop enabling that aspect of him that is has become so comfortable doing that. So it's really going to be great for both of you in the long run. And if you can do it from the right space in a way that won't kind of create bigger issues. So there's no blame. It's really coming from you when you're in your center. Then it will all be fine. If you're off center, if there's resentment coming in, if there are other things at play, then there's going to be karma attached to it, and it's going to be, you're going to continue to keep playing this out. Do it free and clear and with a clear, happy heart, and I can assure you that in the long run it will be the best thing you ever did.